Well, I started working with IFSW in 2011. And before that, I'd been working as a social worker, a practitioner, and a manager, and an educator in different roles for many years before that. And it was a real opportunity to work internationally, to help build the visibility of the profession, to help grow the profession. When I first started, the profession at the international federation level was very, very strong in Europe and in North America and some other countries, Australia, New Zealand, and parts of Asia, and not so strong in other parts of the world, the Middle East and Africa and and parts of Latin America and other parts of Asia. And so it was a real opportunity to help build and support social work voices from those other countries, to be able to sit alongside equally with the more established national associations of social work, to be able to share learning and experiences. Well, social work is, as it gains in visibility, it's also gaining in reputation for its impact on society. So every society has known for a long time they need police officers, they need teachers, they need nurses, they need doctors. And unfortunately, some societies didn't realise they also need social workers. They may have seen them as a luxury item, or they may have understood social work in a very narrow context of prevention of child abuse. And of course, social work is so much more broad than that. Social work involves helping communities to develop and helping families to overcome challenges and to be able to contribute not just to their own lives, but the lives of people around them. So now what's changing is that the policymakers are starting to become much more aware of the importance of social work to society. And so they know when you employ a social worker in a community, crime rates go down, you get better health outcomes, more people participate in education, more people participate in the workplace. And because of the multiple focuses of social work, working together to support people transition from marginalisation or poverty into being active members of society. So policymakers are suddenly becoming much more aware at the global level that social workers are needed, but we need training for them. And this is also a wonderful thing to see, is that in almost every social work program in the world, there's more people to take the student roles than there are places available. And so we have to grow social work education to be able to meet the demand of students and also to meet the demand of societies. And the thing about training is that there's also a growing awareness of governments that not just anybody can be a social worker. You do require training. It's really complex work. And a social worker interacts with people who are in crisis, who haven't found a solution by themselves so far. And the role of the social worker is not to come along and say, well, I've got the solution for you, because that doesn't work. We know that doesn't work. It's to help the people that they're working with to identify their strengths, identify their capacities, and to work together in a more collective way to start to change the environments that have caused the problems. And this is really complex work, and so we need really robust training, rigorous training, to support social workers to be able to do this. One of the wonderful things about the program, that the International Bachelor's Program in Social Work that Hans developed, is that it truly wants to be located philosophically and in terms of the skill set, in terms of the theoretical contributions, to support students to understand international social work. And in this globalised world, we all need to take this step. to take the step that Hun's University of Applied Social Sciences has made. So Hun's made a decision to teach in English, which I think it's good to have programs in many languages, but they've made this decision to do it in English to be able to meet the language requirements of many people in the world, not just people with English as a first language, but many people that have English as a second or third or fourth language, and to create a philosophy that wherever one practices in social work, whether it's in their home native country or in another country, we need to have the skills of understanding culture, of understanding political dynamics that differ in different places in the world and different places within our own societies, of being able to build trust with groups that are diverse, and to be able to support the people we work with to be leaders of their own development. And so by Han University developing this course, I'm sure it'll be incredibly useful for workers from the Netherlands that want to stay in the Netherlands, and from other participants who will be students in this program, who will want to go home or want to travel elsewhere, because they'll be equipped with the core skills of being able to work across different challenges, cultural contexts, and socioeconomic environments. Well, I think now that we're facing the world's facing a crisis today, and the COVID-19 crisis, and I'm very mindful that following this crisis, we're likely to see a huge economic depression or decline in the world economy. Unfortunately, too many governments under economic pressure practice austerity, and one of the first things that tend to go into austerity are services to people. And so it's not just social work and social services, it's education, it's health, and a whole range of services that governments tend to cut back on. It's absolutely a false economy for governments to do that, and there's enormous evidence to show that in a weak economic situation, you need to strengthen those services because they have such a positive impact on rebuilding the economy. But I think now with this crisis, we're in for a bit of a struggle in some countries where social work will have to work very hard alongside other professional groups to advocate for maintenance and advancement of services. There will be other governments that will apply a much more economically sound process, which will be to invest in those processes. So we're going to see in the world different things happening. We're going to see some governments expanding social work services, and we're going to see some governments wanting to reduce them, and there will be a need in those countries and in those regions for social workers to be advocating strongly for the development of their jobs. Having said that, I think in the long term, social workers are growing. It's growing now. It's the fastest growing profession in the world. And it will continue to grow as governments become aware that you can't separate economic and social development. They have to go hand in hand. And social workers are the core workforce, or one of the core workforces, the social development side. And that can be any one of us. As we're facing this crisis today, lots of people who had never felt vulnerable in their lives before are suddenly feeling vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And people who were experiencing different layers of vulnerability have an enormous extra layer on top of them. And there are times in which all of us in our lives need some help, some support and guidance, and helping us to find our strength again and to develop the skills to be able to be a leader in our own lives, and a responsible citizen, and a responsible neighbour, and a responsible parent to the people around us. Thank you so much, and good luck with all of your work there in the Netherlands.